Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? Big mahalo for tuning in. I hope that you're doing good. Today on the line, we're speaking with a very talented guitarist, singer, songwriter, actor, artist, and all-around nice guy. He has been part of the cultural landscape since his 1984 debut, Silvertone. His music has been prominently featured in movies like Blue Velvet from David Lynch and Eyes Wide Shut, the final Stanley Kubrick film. He starred in his own Showtime cable TV show. He was on Biography Channel as well. You've seen him in movies like Little Buddha, Twin Peaks, even The Silence of the Lambs. His latest album is Beyond the Sun. He plays live in Hawaii. We're excited to be welcoming him. November 30th in Honolulu at the Blaisdell Concert Hall. December 1st at the MAC in Kahului. It is a great pleasure to welcome Chris Isaak. Aloha and mahalo, brother Chris.
Aloha, Dave. How you doing?
I am good, my brother. A big hug and a high five to you. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
I wish I was there. I got to do one with you when I'm in person. It's like it makes me. I wish I was there where it was like some nice warm rays, some water.
You are going to be here soon, and as I was talking to Lucy, I guess it was, on your staff, we'll have you come over to the radio station and do something here with us, because we got a great performing arts studio. It'd just be perfect for you and your guitar and us just talking a little story.
You know, I always, when I'm in Hawaii, I always feel good because I get to throw in at least one Hawaiian song. And people, you know, I don't know why, but I get Hawaiian music makes people, when I say I love Hawaiian music, almost always people will go, you're kidding me, or like, you know, they'll laugh or something, and I go, no, I mean, I don't know what the deal is, but it's like I love singing the high falsetto stuff.
What is it that draw us the connection between you and the islands? I know you were just here earlier this year, actually, on the Big Island.
Well, I mean, I probably have no more connection than every other beach bum that went, you know, made their way to Hawaii on a plane or a freighter or a tanker or something, who went, holy moly, this is nice, you know. Right. I come from a town that's pretty consistently gets voted the worst place to live in America.
Which is that?
Stockton, California, and it's not a bad town. It's a nice town and nice people, and it's got a bad name. I don't know why people keep voting that and calling it a bad town, but I guess they had some crime problems, and we had a lot of houses that needed to be refinanced and stuff, and so but it always gets voted like the worst place. But I have to say, it's like you know, you go to Hawaii and you go, oh, this really is paradise.
How many times have you? When was your first visit, if you can recall?
You know, I went there years ago, and one of the first times I went, I remember I somehow got like a ticket to Hawaii. It was cheap, and I brought my mom because she'd never been. I thought this is going to be, you know, it'd be a fun trip for her. She's never been.
I love that.
And we got to Hawaii, and we were staying in a place which I loved. It was kind of like Hawaiiana, like, you know, really old-fashioned and funky. Like
I
the
dig
rooms
that.
all smelled like mildew. And it did. It was like the rooms all smelled kind of like mildew, and but had like, you know, tiki painted on the wall and stuff. And it was kind of a cheesy place, but it was cool. You know, and I was soaking it up. I loved it. And we got there the first night, and everybody, you know, my mom had gone to bed, and I was up playing my guitar, and I stopped playing. I could hear somebody singing. They were playing Hawaiian music. And I went down, and they had an outdoor kind of like bar cafe, but it was past closing time, and the guys were just jamming. And I said, "Can I sit and listen?" They go, "Well, we're not, you know, we can't sell you a beer or anything. We're just jamming." I said, "I just want to listen." And I listened about 20 minutes, and I couldn't take it. I said, "Can I sing something?" And they go, "No, I mean, you know, this isn't like, you know,
open mic.
You know, you can't just jump." And I said, "Well, come on, let me sing, you know, Sweet Leilani or something, you know, that you know, in Constancy." And they go, "Okay." And so I sang, and then they said, "Okay, well, what else do you know?" And I said, "I know everything, man." And I sang with those guys for we sang about an hour and a half down there in the bar.
I love it. That is such an amazing story, such the connection that you heard it, and then you just gravitated to being on the stage.
Well, it's like if you like music, you know, like I'm sure those guys, if they came to California and they walked in some bar, it was closed and they were playing, you know, country or something, probably those guys would go, "Hey, I could sing that, I could play that," you know.
Exactly.
Music kind of pulls people together.
Right, that's a good way. That's a great description of the universality. Universality. Thank you.
You're right. It is the University of Music because it teaches us stuff.
Saving me there, my brother. So beyond that experience, which is a really cool, and sounds like you might have been at the Royal Hawaiian too, just from my
I love. There's a song, the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. I have a 78 of an old song. It's like, I love it. There's actually, they got their own theme song. I go, that's pretty cool.
That is, and it's a landmark, and it has that sort of really historic. Kind of looks like the Hotel California, but on the beach in Waikiki. And when you come here, does your set change as a result of this sort of experience with the music?
I figure I don't get there that often. So my set, I try to put in the songs that I go, first of all, I'm going to play anything that was a hit or near a hit. I'm going to play it because I want people to hear the songs they came to hear.
That's right.
And then past that, I'll try to throw in, I'll play some of my new stuff, but I play, I'm going to play Wicked Game or Baby Did a Bad, Bad Thing. And then I'll throw in, like my recent album I'm doing stuff from Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis. And people love it. You break into Ring of Fire or It's Now or Never, and people know those songs, and they love hearing a band really kick into them.
Yeah, and I'm sure people appreciate your interpretation of them too, the unique stamp, if you will, that you put on someone else's work, especially something like that. Beyond the Sun, describe it for fans who don't have it but have been appreciative of your previous work and maybe coming.
This is the most fun I ever had making a record. And basically, it's all the music that I grew up listening to, and I always loved singing backstage and at my house. If I'm sitting in my house when I get off tour, the first thing I do is pick up a guitar and I start singing. I get in the hallway where it sounds good. And, it always sounds better in the hallway. It's got a lot of bounce.
Reverb.
And I go out in the hallway and I'll sit down and I'll sit there with a, glass of tea and my guitar and play for hours. And I'm always singing, Elvis and Johnny Cash and Roy Orbison and Jerry Lee Lewis, and all those guys recorded at one little studio, and they all got started at one little studio in Memphis, Tennessee, called Sun Studio. And that studio never got torn down. It's still there today. And I took my band to that room where they recorded all those songs that I love, and we recorded an album. And we actually recorded enough for about 3 albums because we were having so much fun. And we picked the best ones and put it out.
That room, you've probably been in a lot of special studios and concert halls. Is there a certain vibe the first time you walked in the room you just felt, man, I'm here finally?
That's probably is the 2 places that really impressed me. I went to the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, and Sun Studio. And Ryman Auditorium, if people don't know, is where they had they call it the Grand Ole Opry for years. And Elvis Presley stood on that stage. Hank Williams stood on that stage. And, when you walked out and you stood on that spot, you went, man, I'm standing in a spot where, like, all these heroes that I grew up listening to have played. And that's how, when you go into Sun Studio, it's a little tiny room with a great big sound. And it's kind of like in a, not a great neighborhood, like a funky kind of a neighborhood, but, it's like more like muffler shops and stuff. It's like not the kind of place that you'd expect, to have a museum, but it's a safe neighborhood, but it's an amazing sounding room. And when you walk in there and you go, B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf, Elvis, Jerry Lee. I mean, you go to the piano and you go, look, there's Jerry Lee's cigar burn on the piano.
Man, I like that.
It's just, the room's filled with history.
You mentioned the piano. How much gear is actually in that place that you were able to use and take advantage of, recording or otherwise?
The gear is, I would say we use minimal amount of gear and maximum amount of get it on. When we went to Memphis, Tennessee, I said, look, everybody brings, you bring what you want to play, but don't bring a bunch of stuff because I don't want to be hauling all kinds of gear and dealing with that. I want to put the energy into making a record. So I played almost everything on my one acoustic guitar. My guitar player, I think, had 2 guitars. We had a stand-up bass. We borrowed their piano. we had a couple of drums that we got locally, and I mean, it was a pretty simple amount of stuff. It ain't the stuff that makes it. I mean, the sound of the room is good, and then if you're playing good,
right,
singing good, then it's going to work. And we recorded it kind of very old-fashioned. I mean, those 50s records, they didn't have headphones on. They weren't multi-tracking. And that's kind of what we did. We went in the room and just went for it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's not even multi-tracked, huh? It's just sort of...
Well, we went in the room and everybody was just, no headphones, and everybody's bleeding into everything. So if you made a mistake...
That was it.
There really wasn't a way to, fix it. And you'd think it would make everybody uptight, but in a way... it made everybody have fun because we all knew we were just, every track you're listening to each other, and, we don't make, we've been playing together 26 years. When we play on stage at night, we don't make a lot of mistakes every night. It's not like, we stop each song twice.
Right. Right. Yeah, I can imagine there's a tightness. When talking about that, playing on stage together often and having to, a guy like yourself has made I like to think of it, you've made a contribution, sort of an essential song to the overall, essential songs to the overall pop culture catalog. But to take one in particular, Wicked Game, is it a blessing, a curse? I mean, do you look at it as a blessing to think, man, I have made a song that is so essential. It's an essential song.
I love it that people know something that I made, and I'm thrilled anytime I meet people and they say, I know Wicked Game, or, if somebody goes, I heard Baby Did a Bad, Bad Thing, or Forever Blue, or, in France it was always Blue Hotel was a big hit over there. And it just, it makes you happy if you write a song that people enjoy it. And I never, for a minute, did I ever feel put upon to sing it. I mean, to be honest, it's like I just go... It's so nice to be a singer because wherever you are, if people like the song, you can sing. It doesn't take much to be able to sing. I live near I'm always on the beach. I love the water. And I was in San Francisco, and there's a beach by my house that people get married on, and they, and I looked, and there's this couple, and they were having their friend looked like they were taking their pictures, and she was in her wedding dress out on the beach. And I was walking down the beach, and I had my guitar, and I walked up, and I said, congratulations. And the woman said, oh, my God, I'm a big fan. And I said, well, great. And I sang her, she goes, I love Wicked Game. I said, fine. I sang her Wicked Game when she was there with her,
her husband, her future husband, right?
And I go, she acted like, I did a big thing. I says, I'm happy to sing for people.
Man, that's
fun.
That's not only inspiring that you treat it that way, but it's inspiring further because just the original studio. When you hear the original version, that's why I call it an essential song. It takes you to places. It brings you to a different time in your life as a listener. And music, that's powerful.
When we filmed the video for that in Hawaii, I think it was on the Big Island, and it was near volcanic flow. And what's funny to me is people still come to talk to me, and they still think that it was like some kind of special effect behind me making smoke. And that's not green screen or special effect. That's me standing next to volcanic, lava going into the ocean and making steam. And we went back the next day to film some more, and that whole area that I was standing on was gone.
It had fallen into the ocean.
Yeah, it just gone. I mean, that was crazy and crazy dangerous to do that.
Whose idea was it to film that here?
That was Herb Ritz, the director, and Herb's passed away. And what a nice man! And he was. I remember him coming. We were shooting the thing, and he says, I want to use somebody new. She's not famous, and then make her the girl in the video." And I said, "Herb, whatever you want. She pretty?" He says, "Oh, she's very pretty." I said, "Well, great." And Helena Christensen was the girl, and I went, "Oh my God!" I said, "This is good." I said, "You don't have to worry about combing my hair. Nobody's looking at me in this video."
That's good stuff. What a special memory. I could talk to you all day, and I hope that when you come to town, I'll try to coordinate it with your people. We'd love to have you drop in and just do a little thing at our studio when you're in Honolulu, Chris. It would.
Great of you, and if you get a chance, come down when we're playing. Say hi.
I intend to. I would like to do a quick follow-up wherever and just catch up with you. Appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you, man.
And I'll talk to you soon. Be safe.
See you in town. Ciao.
Aloha.